Hi there, I am Alice and welcome to Study Diaries. Okay, in today's video, I want to talk about something interesting, which is COVID-19. Okay, we're going to discuss this in depth and how we need to revisit what that actually was. People were saying that's the mark of the beast, and obviously that theory is wrong. During COVID-19, people thought the world was ending, and the world obviously did not end. Even I was hoping it would end. I knew that COVID-19 would end, but I was hoping that the world would end, right? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about Republicans, Libertarians. Keep in mind, I do not vote for either party because one, I can't, in a country that's more so democratic, and even the system itself, I really don't care for it. I literally just want to be diverted from the political side of things, but I look at it when it is correlated to religion. My interest in politics is its correlation to my religion. Other than that, I literally have zero interest, right, in it. If it's in correlation with my religion or my culture as well, that's the only things that make me interested in it. So we're going to be discussing all those things in just a spaz while I make potatoes in the kitchen. Oh, no. I'm not going to make potatoes. Anyway, so let's begin. If you remember COVID-19, right, a lot of people had theories that it was some kind of virus that came from China, right? That wasn't a theory. It was a fact. It was a virus that was constructed in China, and then it started spreading around the whole world, ever so unfortunately, right? So it reached my country, and when it reached it, I think the amount of people were like 4. Right, when it started, it was 4 people. They entered the plane, boom, bada bang, the cases started increasing, right? And there was always like a flow chart relaying this on a consistent basis, right? So when this was happening, they just said out of nowhere. I remember I heard it on radio and I was like, oh my gosh, they're saying that there's a virus coming, and everyone was kind of ignoring this. They didn't care until boom, March came and they were shut down the entire country. We don't know what this is. We don't know who made it. Well, we know who made it, but we don't know what this is. This is unfamiliar territory. It is a flu that is savage. It is having people in hospitals, beds, dying, and etc. and etc. Now, let me tell you something about that flu. And from people I knew who had it, none of them died. Now, we could say that we have a very strong immune system and stuff like that, but every single person I knew who had that thing did not die. They lived till the next day. People usually died due to natural circumstances during this period of time, right? And it was just one death that I knew of. One person died that whole year. So I was looking at this thing, right? And after creating this virus, right, which is what people who want to kind of scam people, if you're a marketer, right, or anyone who wants to sell a product, a marketer, a brand, if you're trying to sell your product, you find a pain, right? And then you find a solution. I do think the vaccine was definitely a marketing strategy as well. It was just to gain a bunch of money. But not only that, right? They created this virus, and then they created a solution, right, to this virus. Now, people were like, this is very suspicious. Okay, we had Fiona Burnett, right, who wrote Eyes Wide Open, and she was like, I think this is definitely the mark of the beast. Now, the reason why she thought it was the mark of the beast was because in the Bible, she basically reiterated that the only things that can never be saved from judgment were human beings, anything human. So the goal of whatever the mark of the beast is to mutilate the human to change into something that is no longer human anymore, right? You become something different. And if you think about it, it's quite logical actually, because if you look at the book of Enoch, right, the woman who slept with the angels, the watchers, they turned into mermaids, right? They're waiting for judgment at the pits of the ocean. The giants that were made, right, they can't be saved. They're mixed with fallen angel blood and stuff. And I was like, this theory actually makes a lot of sense, right? So she was like, that vaccine contains some animalistic DNA that thing is. Even Cain as well, right? He was mixed with animal blood. He was not human. Abel was human, right? So this occurs, and I'm like, okay, that's a very good theory. However, there are certain instances that are supposed to occur, right, before that actually like starts happening, before they shut down areas and stuff, where inflation goes out the roof, because we have the 4 horses, 7 church ages, right, of which all the 7 messengers, right, they all came and they all left. Leave that to your own imagination. Also the 4 horsemen and stuff, where the first one, what is it? 4 horsemen. All right, the first horseman, and it's just so interesting, right? The white horse, the red horse, the black horse, and the pale horse. The white horse, all right, the person there, the rider, is here to conquer, right? That is the Antichrist, right? That person oh gosh, the Antichrist hasn't been revealed yet, right? We have the red horse rider, the one who's given power to take peace from earth, all right, causing people to kill each other, symbolizing war and civil unrest. Then we have the black horse rider, the third one, right? This one represents scarcity of food, high cost of living during a famine, where a day's wage might only buy enough food for one person. Then we have the pale horse. The pale horse is called death, followed closely by Hades or hell. Now, if you saw Kanye's like little video called Yay the Father, because I do believe like celebrities kind of like channel messages and stuff like that, his was the black horse. And when I saw that, right, I've seen people like theorize like on the stuff, but I really think that that's what's coming. I really think that's what's coming, but we'll talk about that. We'll analyze that video for another day. I'm really curious on just dissecting that one. So like there's a lot that still has to happen before the mark of the beast, right, is kind of placed there. So my theory was that the COVID-19 thingy was just a training session, right? Because one thing I've seen, right, is that there's a sense of coercive control, right, whereby they kind of implement small things just to see the reaction of people before they finally make the final stance. And I'm going to give you multiple examples of this. Okay, first and foremost, we're going to start with homosexuality. 20 years ago, if you were gay, lesbian, I think lesbians used to get away with stuff, but if you were gay, specifically male, you were just like, it was not seen as good. It was seen as gross, disgusting, like all of those things. That's what people perceived it as, right? Even the first time you find out about it, it's like, very weird, disgusting, blah, 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 right? Not only that, but a lot of people used to make like very homophobic like lyrics, and they used to like say very nasty things like about gay people and stuff. And then we had multiple celebrities that were like, I would rather have a thought daughter. Kevin Hart himself said it, and he changed now, and we're going to talk about that instance, right? He was like, I would rather have a thought daughter than have a gay son. He was like, no, 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 no. Right? And then slowly, if you look earlier during that time, you had Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was forced to wear a dress, right, in his show, and he rejected $50 million for that and ran to Africa. Now, that whole spiel has to be dissected on its own, because no one just runs away like that. People see something and it scares them, right? Now, if you look during that time, right, early 2000s, early 2010 and stuff, you're going to realize a lot of black sitcoms and shows were accustomed with a bunch of black men cosplaying as women, right? And I remember as a kid, I didn't understand this because I knew that there was only male and female, right? But this is all conditioning you, right? They're trying to make you accept things that are not normal. This is not done for entertainment, right? It's not for fun. It's not for fun. They are trying to make you accept something that is abnormal. So Medea, right? Saw Medea, Tyler Perry as a man. All of a sudden, he's a woman, right? A grandmother. Then we have Big Mama's house. We have Norman. We have multiple people. Now, the funny thing is that they could have hired an actual actress that is the gender of they could literally hire a female who looks like that, who fits that description, but they don't. They went out and built an entire costume and did it themselves, right? And I never used to understand that concept because I was like, why are you like doing that in the first place, right? So as time goes by, sitcoms slowly start integrating gay couples, right? Modern Family, if you look at Modern Family, Mitchell and Cam, right? They're a gay couple. They put that there. I used to watch this. I was 13 years old, which also links back to the concept of TV is evil, right? I'm watching all of this stuff. So this is conditioning your brain to accept as normal, right? That's what TV does. It makes you think that this is something you see every day, so it's like normal, right? And so when you see it outside, it's no longer taboo or wrong or weird, right? Boom. Slowly, they start making movies that allow compassion with the LGBTQ community, right? I think the only one I found was, no, it wasn't only that. You would see it like in multiple movies, like series, like it was just casually just, put in there every single time. I used to watch Star on Netflix, and basically the one person there, the transgender girl, she was never accepted by Queen Latifah on there, and it provides a sense of what? Compassion, right, towards that character, because you're seeing them abused. And a lot of people in the world, we were underdogs. I feel like we were, and so we tend to associate with people who are also underdogs because we feel their pain and we understand them more in comparison to someone who is judgmental and uppity and stuff. People love humble people because they kind of correlate more with those people, right? They start making those shows. There's a new show like on transgender, like women who were basically saying that we are real women and stuff. They had like a whole drag show. I forgot the name of the show. I was watching this diligently and I was enjoying these shows and stuff until I came to the realization that after watching all of those things, they made me okay with this concept that is not right. Now, after all of this happens, right, we reach a stage of 2020 where all of a sudden secrets come out, right? We have Kevin Hart, all of a sudden, all of his business from the early 2000s where he's saying, I would rather have a thought daughter than a gay son. He received a lot of flack, being cancelled. Interview after interview after interview after interview after interview for one simple line that he said. And people were trying to blacklist him and stuff like that, which really relays like how scary this is, right? And remember that we have social media. We have social media and we have real life. Real life people do not care. I swear, nobody cares. In reality, social media is its own different world, like celebrity culture and all that jazz. It's its own world, right? It's like Kanye, everyone thinking that Kanye doesn't have any fans. There are people who actually go to his shows and they watch his stuff. Then you have people who have a perception of him. There's reality and then there's the illusion, right? Now, when it comes to social media as an illusion, right, the whole point of it is to kind of accustom people to things so that when they go out into the world, they think that this is normal and they start coinciding with that. Real life people do not act like that. I can't stress this enough. People in real life do not care. They are disengaged from a bunch of the stuff that happens on social media. People in real life are living life. And I know that because I'm in real life as well. So, boom, bada bang, right? All of this stuff accumulates and Kevin Hart experiences this huge pivotal moment, right? Which is career ruining, practically, right? Because I think he got snubbed some shows during that period of time just for saying that comment. That was not by mistake. It was showing people that, hey, if you don't coincide with the new moral compass, you will receive harsh circumstances for this. And think about it, people who've said like racist remarks or anything like that, they don't receive the same flack, right? They just buy a bunch of books and they're like, well, I've learned, I've changed and stuff, and then society kind of like just moves on. But what I saw with that is that it's a sense of conditioning people to be accustomed to a sense of living that is not normal. So they're telling everyone, this is how you will be from now onwards. It's not necessarily that that's the mark of the beast.